Hello and welcome to this short demo of the new E4Mooc prototype. E4Mooc is a project that has a goal to allow students to test Eiffel programs directly in their browser without having to install Eiffel Studio. And the second important goal of the project is to make it really easy for teachers to put Eiffel programs online and make them accessible for the students. So with the current prototype, there are three main features that I'd like to show you here. The first is how you can embed Eiffel projects in arbitrary web pages. The second feature is how you add or modify the projects that you make available online. And the third feature is blacklisting. Let me switch to a demo. I go to my browser, and if you go to the address http Cloud Studio ethz ch E4Mooc, you get to this very simple overview page that is listing all the projects, the Eiffel projects that are available. And if we select, for example, a Hello World project, we get to this page where you see an editor showing the different Eiffel files in this project, a button to compile the project, a button to run the project, and an output of the compilation or the execution of the program. So back to this page, there's also here this button show code, and if you click on this you get an HTML iframe code which you can just copy paste and put into any web page to embed the editor that we have just seen. So to give you an idea of how this looks like is if I go to the chair's web page, I've done this to my own personal page, so if I go there you can see just by copy pasting this iframe code I have now the editor and the output and the two buttons available on an arbitrary web page. So this is how you embed projects into a web page. The next thing I want to show you is how you add new projects. And this is basically done in the way that the server on which E4Mooc is running has its own Dropbox folder that it can share with others. So right now this Dropbox folder is shared with myself on my laptop here, and so in the Dropbox folder there's currently this Hello World example and this blacklist example, and now on my local machine I have a new project, Knights and Monsters. It's just a regular Eiffel project, the Eiffel files and the ECF. And if I want to add this, you just drag and drop it into the shared Dropbox folder, and once Dropbox has synchronized, you can reload the web page, and then the new project is available online. In the same way, of course, if you want to modify a project or delete a project, you just modify or delete the stuff in the shared Dropbox folder. Okay, so now the last feature, the blacklisting. This is an idea where, let's assume you have a project where students should implement something. So for this demo I said a student has to implement an algorithm that checks if a given string is a palindrome. And I already provide an implementation here, and then in another class I have a few test cases, strings that are used on this routine, and if I compile the project and then run it, then you can see that these test cases are passing. Now maybe we want to hide these particular test cases and this class from the student. So what I can do is in the Dropbox folder where this project is hosted. I create a new file called black.list, and now within this blacklist I can add files, one file per line, that should not show up in the browser but still be part of the project. So let me save this, and now if I reload the project, then you see the application.e file is gone. But if I compile it and run it, then in the background, of course, this is still used as the root class of the project. Okay, so there are a few conventions at the moment to make this all work. The one is your project should only have a single ECF file. If you have multiple, then only the last one that is scanned, seen by the server, will be used, and the other ECF files will be ignored. The file names, the Eiffel files, should have unique class names. Otherwise, it gets a bit complicated to make sure that this is working correctly. The ECF should contain a target, which is the target used for the compilation, that has the same name as the ECF file name. And finally, the ECF should also include a line in the target saying that this application is a console application. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope you can provide me some feedback.